Good morning. This is your wake up call.
It's time to wake up, Wisconsin.
Wake me up!
All right, rise and shine, Sleeping Beauty. Come on, hop, hop, hop.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
Here's your host, Josh Albrecht.
And it's base hit through the right side. Chourio sent around third. Benj has it. His throw's going to go to third all the way through. Safe as well. 1-0 Brewers on a hit by Vaughn. That is hit off the end of the bat towards the second baseman. They will get one. And safe is Sanchez scoring his Lar to make it 2-0.
If you're David Hamilton.
Chourio goes to right. It's back. And it is gone for Jackson Chourio. The base hit bunt turns into 2 runs. For Chourio, number 18. That's a fair ball. They're going to go across the diamond and get Contreras. An RBI ground out as Chourio scores. Pratt into left. That'll get it done. Robert back on the warning track to make the catch. Ortiz tags and scores, and Cooper Pratt delivers. Chourio to left. It is up. It is gone for Jackson Chourio. A 4-hit day, and he caps it with a second home run of the night.
Hey, remember yesterday when I was saying, I'm happy with what this team's doing, but boy, I could use a few more home runs. Well, Jackson Chourio must have been listening to the show.
I was just going to say, he is listening. Confirmed.
We have confirmed that Jackson Chourio wakes up with the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call.
It's just like the other day, Tim and I were doing the post game. We were talking, hey, maybe Chourio needs a day off. Then he sat yesterday. Tim texted me, hey, maybe, whatever. We were smart people because we said he'd be off. I was like, Pat Murphy listens to the post game.
Yeah, there we go.
It's confirmed.
Confirmed. It's confirmed that this is the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call. Good morning, Wisconsin. Hope that everyone is doing well. It is Friday, baby. We made it. We made it through the week. And we made it through the week with another Brewers series victory. As we've been saying all season long, just keep winning series. Just keep winning series, which is fun. I feel like the streaks of last year as a fan base, we were enjoying a little bit more than the, just consistent series win of this year, but they're still doing it, and they've been consistently doing it all year long. All right, let's get you caught up. Hey, what happened? Well, as I just mentioned, the Brewers took care of business in the final game of their series with the Mets. They win 8-2. Big news in that is Chourio has a night, goes 4 for 5, 2 home runs, 4 runs, 4 ribbies, his 18th and 19th home run of the season. On top of that, you had Miz on the mound, which anytime you know that Jacob Mizrowski is going to be on the mound, that definitely increases your chances of coming away with a victory.
They scored 2 in the first inning. I mean, were you like, all right, this is over?
2, no. 2, I don't. 2, I won't. But when it was 4, then I was like, all right.
we're good.
Right.
It's such a weird feeling. The first thing when they scored 2, I was like, oh, they'll win. Not that they were going to win with 2 runs, but
you figured they'll put up more.
They'll be good. They'll score another couple, and Miz isn't giving up more than 2, so they're good.
I didn't figure that Miz was going to give up any. When it was 4-0, I was like, all right, I think the bullpen can go 7, 8, 9 without giving up 5 runs. Got it. I think we'll be good there. And then it turned out that Miz did give up a couple of runs, and that's going to bring up something that we're going to talk about later in the show in How'd You Sleep? The mound, right? His velocity's down. He's complaining about the mound. They literally stop the game. They bring the grounds crew out, everything. Obviously, Murph is listening to Miz. If there's one person that you go and do whatever they ask, it's Miz, right? And so when he's like, hey, this is not okay, we got to do something with the mound, Murph's like, yep, okay, I'm going to go talk to him and get him out there. But we will talk more about what's going on with the mound and could this be a factor down the road in the postseason with Miz's starts? We'll get to that a little bit later. Plenty of other things, though.
Hey, what happened?
Happening. First of all, it was announced that Dustin May could be available to make a start on Sunday, which would have been Gasser's spot. Obviously, Gasser came in after May was hit. after one pitch in his start. Do you want that, though? I'm not sure that I want that.
I don't know if it's too big of a deal, honestly. I mean, it seems like he's fine. They're saying there's no bruising. I don't know how
I thought
you
he said it was just bruising.
No,
originally.
they said
bruising
no
went
bruising.
away overnight.
There wasn't any bruise. That's 106, and you're right on the bone, and you don't bruise. I don't know how that is not happening, but maybe it just hit him in a good spot where it just kind of knocked him out in terms of like he couldn't catch his breath, and he's good. He threw. He said he was feeling pretty good. I mean, if he feels pretty good, it's hard to say like, you can't go because you got hit by a ball.
Yeah, it was definitely.
It's not like a hamstring injury. Like it's not like he maybe tweaked his hamstring a little bit. I mean, he got hit by a ball.
I think it really comes down to this for me. What is the plan with Dustin May down the road? Because if you're looking for a guy that is going to be your workhorse to get you to October, and you're not having a defined role for him in October, then yeah, put him out there. Then why not? If you think that he's going to be a bigger part of your run towards a World Series,
do you see that?
Not right now.
Yeah, because I don't either.
Not right now.
And I guess the alternative
between him and Gasser, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd rather have Dustin May.
Okay.
But I guess I'm saying it's not like you're like relying on Dustin May to make postseason starts. He'll make like two, maybe a third one.
Right.
Maybe a third postseason start.
Right.
If you get far enough in. So is that necessary? You could always go bullpen game. I know we love the bullpen games with Aaron Ashby starting in a postseason game, but they could do it twice in a postseason and be fine.
The other thing too is that, remember, after the weekend is when that Cubs series starts. So I wonder too how much they want to save and focus on that Cubs series and maybe just try to get through that weekend series with the Rangers, right?
Yeah, I think they have Henderson and Mizrowski lined up for both Cubs series already.
Yeah.
Which means I think Harrison would pitch one of the two, which is good with me. I think as long as Miz and Henderson, you get 4 out of the 7 with those two, I think you are feeling pretty good about where you're at, and everyone else can slide in. And I don't know if that's a big deal outside of those two guys.
I'll tell you this. The Brewers start their series with the Rangers at home tonight. First pitch, 6:40. If they win tonight and tomorrow, then I for sure wouldn't put them out there. You already secured the series.
So who do you put out there then?
Well, then go a bullpen game. Do
ahead of a Cubs 4-game series?
Yeah, put Ashby and Patrick out. You know what? Hell, throw Patrick out there. See if that fixes him. If that gets Chad Patrick back in. I don't know. I'm just saying they have some pieces they can do. I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really truly matter either way. I'm just more focused on the Cubs series than I am what's happening over the weekend, I guess, is the big point.
Well, the Brewers have right now, it's the blank on Sunday. Dustin May would have thrown Tuesday, but that's going to be Gasser now, right? I think they're just going to flip. It's probably what's going to happen. So you'll have Gasser, Miz, Henderson, Harrison, Gasser, Miz, Henderson for the 4 games. I feel pretty good about that.
It's not a bad place.
Or you just
to be in.
Push May back and you start Chad Patrick or Aaron Ashby or whoever in bullpen. I don't know if I like a bullpen game going into a crucial 4-game series and just, taking guys' pitch counts away, going into that.
Yeah.
You put yourself behind the 8 ball. I'd love rather to just have your starting pitcher go 8 and keep them all fresh. Probably not going to be an ideal world, but if you can help it, I'd like to stay away from using multiple guys maybe overusing them going into that series.
Sure. One other thing before we move on from the world of baseball.
Hey, what happened?
Andrew Fisher, that guy that a lot of people said is off limits at the trade deadline, and also a guy that we're hoping at some point will bring more power to the Milwaukee Brewers lineup, has absolutely been hitting for power in the minors. He hit his 40th, 41st, and 42nd home run.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're lying.
This is how the last one sounded.
Nobody out. The new pitcher delivers. Pitcher swings and slashes it the other way out towards left. Trice runs back, and it's a 3-homer game for Andrew Fisher. Just the 8th time in Chuckers franchise history a player has sent 3 homers out of here, and it's 8-1 on the first pitch of the 7th.
So I understand it's AA, it's prospect ball, but still impressive. Glad that he's still a part of the organization.
Get that guy to AAA.
Yeah.
Give him a month in AAA
before
at
the end of the
year.
season.
Yeah,
Yep.
let him play September there.
I agree. All right. That's the good news that happened yesterday. Thank you, Brewers. Thank you.
That's the end of the
baseball.
show. That's
Yep.
the end of the show. Nothing more to talk about.
No, we got to talk about it.
Hey, what happened?
It finally happened. That's what happened. Everything that I said, yeah, it ain't over yet. Here it comes. Josh Jacobs officially charged from the Brown County District Attorney's Office. And we're going to be talking about it multiple times throughout the show. First and foremost, make sure you are listening at 7:25 today. Matt Schneidman of The Athletic will be joining the show to fill us in, answer any questions you might have in regards to this report and this story. So the big changes here were that he was originally charged with, there were 5 charges brought against him. One was a felony strangulation. Okay, that was domestic strangulation, I think is what the official term was on that. That is no longer on the board. The charges that are now against him are a misdemeanor of battery and a misdemeanor of criminal damage to property. So a few people were looking at this and saying, okay, but these are misdemeanor charges. Few things to remember here. First and foremost, I like that phrase. I've been using that a lot with this. The case for Josh Jacobs there are 2 different cases here. There's the case in the judicial system, and there's the case in the NFL and public opinion. The NFL, based on charges, could make, and their evidence, their own investigation can determine if he's out for 4 games, 6 games, 8 games a season, forever. They can make that determination on their own. They do not have to wait for the judicial system to determine what happens with him. If they see evidence, they can make their own call. They do not have to follow the letter of the law. Matt Schneidman, who again we're going to talk to later on the show, did come out and share the full report from the district attorney's office. And in there, it does say, after essentially the argument started because his girlfriend went through his phone, saw that he was texting other women, got upset, confronted him with it. He grabbed his phone back. It starts this altercation that has him drive away. He grabs her phone. He drives away with her phone. She chases him. They end up back at the house. And it leads to the garage where, according to the report, it says Jacobs grabbed her and threw her to the ground, and she struck her head, suffering an injury. Jacobs then took her phone from her while she was on the ground, and she was struggling to walk back into the house. It goes through, this was the report, the investigator for the Hobart Lawrence Police Department. The report contained a description of the content of the video footage recovered from the surveillance system, specifically the footage from the camera system within the garage. There was no video evidence within the house. So one of the big things that were coming up as people were looking at this report and this new news was, what is the actual evidence? Is there video evidence? And from what I'm reading from the report, the answer is yes. The video evidence is from the incident that happened in the garage, which is what he is being charged with by the district attorney and district attorney's office, of grabbing her and throwing her to the ground. Obviously not okay. Obviously, right? And so that alone, in my opinion, is all that the NFL is going to need. Josh Jacobs is done. I understand that
What do you mean by done?
he's going to be out a minimum of 6 games.
Okay.
That is the minimum in the CBA for domestic abuse, domestic violence in any way, shape, or form. If the league deems it so, minimum of 6 games. If there is video evidence that the NFL can see and can prove and have proof of him putting his hands on her and throwing her to the ground, that's it. That's it. That's all they're going to need. What happens after that? I don't know. The other thing that I can tell you is based on the report and it's saying, as expected, the surveillance video does not depict any portion of the incident that is alleged to have occurred inside the residence. That means they only have video evidence of what happened in the garage. They do not have video evidence of anything that happened in the house, right? Just in the garage. So all the other charges that were brought against him could still have happened. They just don't have the evidence to charge him with those after they gathered all of the evidence they needed to pursue it. What the Packers do, that is the big question of the day. That is going to be what I want to hear from you guys on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. I will not read texts of people saying anything that tries to make light of this situation because it's completely unacceptable, and anyone that thinks otherwise doesn't have a place on this show. That being said, what do the Packers do now? This was a situation that we knew could come to light. Anyone that thought business as usual meant it's over didn't understand how these things work. The district attorney's office, there's not a timeline. The DA could wait as long as they needed to press charges against Josh Jacobs. I said it could have been, literally, they could have been waiting for him at family night. They could have been waiting for him. They could have been waiting for him in Minnesota, as soon as they come back from Minnesota in week 1. It could have been at any point. It ends up being on August 27th, a week or two before the start of the regular season. So, on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. I want to know, what do the Packers do? What do they do with Josh Jacobs? What do they do now in place of Josh Jacobs? What is the plan for the Packers? What happens with Josh Jacobs is going to be up to the judicial system and the NFL. I want to know what the Packers do going forward.
There's a huge caveat here, and we can get into it in the next setting, but a huge caveat, and I don't think it's over for Josh Jacobs this year. That'll be my tease.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think, and I know where you're going. I know where you're going with it, absolutely. So that's going to be the big topic of the day. We're going to be hitting that multiple times during the show, and we want you to be a part of the conversation. We're also going to talk about what's going on with the mound and why the mound at opposing ballparks seems to keep being such a problem for Jacob Mizorowski. That and more coming up in How'd You Sleep? Let us know as well on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. How'd you sleep out there? Let us know, and we will read those, of course, as well. All that and more coming up next when we come back on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. I'm Josh Albrecht. That's Aaron Morse. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Baseball coverage on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi. One price, 5 years guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call. Josh Albrecht, Aaron Morse, alongside, of course, and all of you on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. We want to know, how'd you sleep? How'd you sleep out there last night? A lot of different ups and downs yesterday. Could have kept you up kind of late last night, maybe tossing and turning. We go to the phones. We bring on Lewis from the north side. Lewis, good morning. Welcome to the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call.
Fellas, what's up? Bad day in the Jacobs family, and you know, you almost can say rightfully so, right? But I'm going to get ahead of everybody here because everybody, oh, you can't put your hands on a woman, we can't do this, we can't do that. But you can't. But the law is the law. And I hear you guys saying some magical words before I called, and those two words are domestic violence. He's not charged with domestic violence. Okay, the law in Wisconsin is very, very specific. You have to have a child in common, or you have to reside together. This is neither. This is the same thing as if me and you got into a disagreement in your garage and you pushed me down. Nothing more, nothing less. We have to take, you know, in today's time, it's going to sound a little bit sketchy, but we have to take the man-woman stuff out of it, because in certain other things, there's no more lineage, there's no more line in those things. So in the law, we have to accept that also, and the NFL is going to have to accept that also. You know, we can get on our high horse and say we can't hit a woman, man can't hit a woman. Let me ask you a question: what if he was dating Clarissa Shields? Would we feel the same way if he pushed her down?
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Lewis. I do. So a few things. First of all, go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say he is right about that. It's an escalator in Wisconsin, right? You have to add that on top. So there is no domestic violence charge here. We all can view this, and we do view this through our eyes and through our minds. We understand that if we were to categorize this, it probably would be a domestic violence incident, and it would be a lot of other places. In Wisconsin, no.
Yes.
Now,
100% in agreement with you. Here's the difference with where I'm looking at this and where Lewis is looking at this. First of all, I still disagree with even if they're not married, they're not living together, they don't have a child together. Just don't. I understand there are specific opportunities and times when that can be there are exceptions to the rules. I understand that. Stealing your phone is not one of them, okay? First and foremost. Second of all, he is talking about the judicial system and the judicial system in the state of Wisconsin. When he said that the public opinion needs to get on board with that, as that being the law, and the NFL need to get on board with that because it's the law. No, they don't. I don't know if he was necessarily saying that. I think he's saying that we have to understand that. We can't like just absolutely dismiss. I think he's just saying we have to, in our minds, get to a place where that in Wisconsin does not equate. Sure. What I'm saying is that the public opinion, the public decision of how they're going to view someone is not playing and never has played by the letter of the law, ever. There are people that were not even convicted of any crime, that it turned out were completely innocent, that the public had turned their back on because of the alleged accusations.
For instance, someone in the league right now, Deshaun Watson, never charged.
Correct. And what do we hear about Deshaun Watson anytime his name's brought up? So public opinion is not going to follow the letter of the law. The NFL is also a private entity. They do not have to follow the rules of Wisconsin. They do not have to go, well, he did it in the state of Wisconsin, so maybe that's a benefit for playing for the Packers. Yeah. They do not have to do that.
That's why I'm curious about this. Like, because the NFL probably does view this in their lens as domestic violence. when they are viewing this, they're probably like, oh yeah, that's domestic violence. But
Correct.
if they're, I'm just curious to know that if there is no domestic violence charge or in this case, in the law in Wisconsin, if there's no domestic violence, I'm curious, can the NFL deem that themselves and say, okay, we think it's domestic violence, 6 games?
100% they can. They get to play.
I'm saying underneath, but they have a CBA. They have their rules that have been agreed upon. And I'm wondering, in that language, is that agreed upon?
Sure. That's
because
a good question.
Because if it had in their language, in their whatever they agreed on, in their CBA or whatever that is, whatever they agreed on, if it does not say that they can make their own rational decisions based on what is domestic violence or what is a drug or what is, then they can't go 6 games because it does not reach that level according to the law. But if they do get to make their own decisions or they get to make their own judgments, then it will get to 6 games.
My understanding and looking at this, my thought is because they do their own investigation into it, then why would they need to do their own investigation if the CBA was saying that it was just going to be according to the letter of the law anyway? That's the only reason why.
Yeah, because sometimes within the law there is room for the NFL to say, okay, well, this is more severe than the law did give you.
So you're saying more.
Yeah,
it being
like if
more
it's in
than
the
what
same
system
category,
does.
the NFL could decide that it's more serious than what the law does give.
Sure.
In that same category, this is a different. DV in Wisconsin is a different category.
I think that in general they're going to play by their own rules. They're going to have their own way to be able to do it. All right, going to the text line here. You guys are all over this texting in. I appreciate you. I'm going to read through some of these now. Annie says, bye-bye, Josh Jacobs. Don't need you around here anymore. The Bill from Iron River texts in and says, gentlemen, I, for one, am sick and tired of professional athletes and politicians getting by with crimes and not being appropriately held accountable. This is supposed to be a nation of laws, and we are not living up to that standard. Well, that's the problem, Bill, is that it is a nation of laws, not just public opinion. And the laws have loopholes. The laws have wording. The laws have specifics that can make things different. Jeremy from Wausau chimes in and says, what do I think should happen? He should be cut. What will happen? They will probably give him another chance after his suspension from the league, but will be on a very short leash. I don't know what the fans will look at him, if the fans will look at him the same anymore either. Andy in Brookfield chimes in and says, NFL will definitely suspend without a conviction or any video evidence. Ezekiel Elliott is the closest comparison, but there was also Jameis Winston, Antonio Brown, and Deshaun Watson, all of which were never even criminally charged, but were suspended by the league.
Right. I guess we're in agreement. He's going to get suspended for some length, right?
Right.
The question we're just saying is, based on the language, is it allowed for that the NFL can suspend as a domestic violence case, which would be minimum of 6 games? I guess that's all I'm curious about. I think everyone agrees he's going to get some sort of suspension from the NFL, whether he's charged or video evidence gets released or not.
I mean,
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's my point. That's why what I asked, what I'm trying to figure out, and what I will continue to put out there on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line is, what do the Packers do? Because there's a lot of other factors that go into this as well, including if the NFL ends up waiting to hear from the judicial system on what their official ruling is before they make a decision, we're going to be at least halfway through the season.
Yeah. So
by the time that this even gets started in court.
Yeah. So this is the biggest thing for me. And this is the caveat that I would like to get to. And for everyone saying he's like, the Packers are screwed, they don't have any running backs, it's Marshawn Lloyd and Chris Brooks, Pierre Strong, and Josh Jacobs is going to get suspended, right away. The initial court date is November 17th.
Correct.
That is a long way away.
How far are we into the season? I'm going to look that up right now.
That's got to be week 11 that's getting to. Because you get September, October, and then 3 weeks in November. It's got to be week 11. You're coming up on
week 10. Their 10th game of the season is November 15th.
Yeah, so it's starting the 11th week of the season.
Yep.
Your practice. So in the NFL, I think traditionally, based on what I've read or in remembering, they like to hold off until things in court do play out. Look at Rashee Rice, for instance. They didn't suspend him. I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong, and someone can let me know if I'm wrong, but I think I'm remembering that he was not suspended until like way after the fact, because the NFL waited for the process to play out. I don't think Josh Jacobs is getting suspended in 2026 or 2027, the 26-27 season. I think it's going to be a 27-28 suspension. That is my thought based on how late the court date is. That's the initial appearance, not even anything past that. It's just the initial appearance is not November 17th. I think this is going to take a long time, which would be very interesting to see what the Packers decide to do.
Andy in Brookfield chimes back in to say, under the NFL's personal conduct policy, the league does not require a criminal conviction, a guilty plea, or video evidence to issue a suspension. Instead, the league conducts independent investigations and issues discipline based on whether credible evidence, in quotes, indicates a violation occurred. So again, it goes to that point. Here's the other thing on top of it, is that regardless of what the NFL decides or what the judicial system decides, the Green Bay Packers also have a decision to make. So it's going to be a look for them, a franchise that is all about family and carrying the G and being the right type of person. Do you fit that Packer mold, right? And so even if it all comes back that everything ends up getting dropped, there are plea deals and they work things out, I don't even know how, some other way, because this isn't just about paying her off, right? This is a criminal charge. Doesn't matter how much money can change hands. If this happens as it sits now, do the Packers still put him out there? Do the Packers put him out there until November? Or do they just cut ties and say, we've heard enough, we've seen enough, we're not going to fight that PR battle, we're not going to have the overall label for the Green Bay Packers tarnished by this story? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know out there on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. What do the Packers do? All right, we got Chris in Menominee Falls. You're up next on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Hey, well, not fantastic based on all of this.
Sure.
But, I think for the Packers, the legalese isn't the issue as much as public perception. So I think it's all going to come down to the video. If the video comes out and the video is bad, I don't think the Packers have a choice but to cut him. And if the video doesn't show much, maybe there's a way that he can stay.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate the call. I don't know how that's going to work with the video. I mean, everything finds its way into leaking out.
It'll come out
at some point. Yeah.
I have a feeling that the video is going to be showing a lot less seriousness than I think people believe the situation to be, or have whatever this incident report is stating. I think people are expecting to see most of it, or I think it's going to be pretty light in terms of what people are expecting or what people understand the situation to have been. Does that make sense?
Sure. And the thing is that
we'll see stuff, but not a good chunk of it. It doesn't sound like, at least.
And to me, I'm saying I don't care.
Right. No, I'm not saying.
I don't care the severity of it at all. I think if you did it.
Public perception might be different based on if there was more of a video than if whatever there is. That's all I'm saying.
It reaches a point to where it's not business as usual anymore. And I don't know. It might even become a point to where the Packers cut him and we all say good. And then Josh Jacobs goes through this, serves a suspension, does something else, and some other team picks him up. And we're watching him play and play well for a different team. There's some things bigger than sports. And doing that, to me, is absolutely one of them. And I understand that there are people out there that disagree, but I got no time for you. So that's that. We're going to talk about this a lot more throughout the show, including in the 7 o'clock hour, welcoming on Matt Schneidman from The Athletic, who will bring more information for us and answer any other questions that you guys might have in regards to the news coming out about Josh Jacobs and him being officially charged by the DA's office as he was with 2 misdemeanors, no felony charges. On the other side, it is the most electrifying sound of the day, and that is going to be Jackson Chourio. And if we have time, I also want to talk about this Miz on the mound thing as well, and what's going on with these mounds on opposing ballparks. So we're going to get to that and everything else when we come back on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Josh Albrecht, Aaron Morris alongside. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
It's time for
The most electrifying.
Sound of the Day.
The most electrifying.
Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Chourio goes to right. It's back, and it is gone for Jackson Chourio. The base hit bunt turns into 2 runs. For Chourio, number 18. Chourio to left. It is up. It is gone for Jackson Chourio. A 4-hit day, and he caps it with a second home run of the night.
Oh, I love hearing that. Jeff Levering, Brewers TV, with the call of Jackson Chourio's 2 home runs in yesterday's victory over the Mets. That is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. Absolutely loved not only that Chourio had a night, but he listens to the show. He was like, oh, okay, they want more. They want the ball to leave the ballpark more. Got it. I can help with that.
Ball over fence.
Got it. Done. No problem.
Ball over fence.
No problem, Josh. I can help you with that. Really quickly, I know you guys are chiming in about the Josh Jacobs things. We will continue that conversation in the 7 o'clock hour. I want to quickly, though, talk about this mound thing with Miz. So Miz's velocity was down all the way to 100 miles per hour. Crazy last night, which we didn't even bring up in Hey, What Happened, of the fact that the Brewers became the first team in essentially baseball history to reach 1,000 pitches of 100 miles per hour or more. 926 of those have been the Miz.
I'd like to say also that they're the first, I think, to reach 700.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the Mets have 8 pitches total.
That is, I mean, come on.
And the Brewers have 1,000.
Mizorowski is like 12 times
the
100 plus pitches that the Mets have.
It's insane. Here's my one thing about the mound.
No, that's not right. 12 times, 112
it's
times,
math.
120 times.
You're doing math.
Yeah.
It's too early for
120
math.
times.
The mound problem. Is this a problem? Was his velocity down because of the mound? And is this a reason why they need to get the 1 seed? Is Mizorowski potentially having to pitch in opposing parks where it's become kind of known? Yeah, don't make the mound exactly how Miz wants it. It might help us out. Does having additional home games, does that change something? A lot of us have said, especially after last year, well, look, the Brewers had the 1 seed last year, didn't help having home field advantage. Yeah, okay, but now is this Miz mound thing a reason why that's a little bit more important? You're more of the played baseball guy. Tell me how serious this is, Aaron.
Well, it can be serious if you don't have a mound to your liking, or you don't have. I think it's the reason why he was throwing soft yesterday. He could not trust his landing spot, and if you can't trust the process that you're going through, you're going to be timid. Think about if you have like a sprained ankle and you're walking. Are you actively thinking about limping? Are you actively thinking about like, ooh, your body just kind of does it. Mm-hmm. Your body just knows to not put as much pressure on. You can try to walk normal, but you're like, this doesn't feel right. Even trying to walk normal doesn't, when you're pitching like that and you know you're about to slide and the dangers of sliding and extending your leg on accident, you're just naturally going to be a little more hesitant, a little more timid. So I think it's a big deal. Now, the teams that, for instance, let's say if they have the 2 seed and they would have to go to the 1 seed, let's say it's the Dodgers. He pitched in LA this year, just about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run.
Right.
Pretty good.
Well, he wasn't terrible yesterday either.
Right. Oh, I know. And I'm saying, okay, let's say Atlanta. He pitched in Atlanta, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. The places that he would maybe have to pitch on the road, are places that he has not really had trouble with the mound this year.
Sure. Yeah.
So it might not be as big of a deal. Some mounds are much better than others, and we've seen that throughout the year. There's times where Mizorowski just doesn't have any issues, and that's because maybe mounds are kept better care all the way around. This is a spot where no one pitches from Mizorowski.
Correct.
So it depends, but
I'm just
teams
saying
can do what they want with the mound.
Correct. I'm just saying in general, right? We can't, especially in regular season starts, like we can't really do anything about it. It's not like you can just have Miz only pitch home games. That'd be insane. But I'm wondering, that was my first thought when I saw him complaining about the mound. My first thought was, oh boy, is this a reason to try to make sure we have home field advantage? So just to make sure that, Miz is that first game of whatever series it is when we have Miz on the mound that we're at home.
He might not also pitch game 1 of every series. If he has to pitch game 5 of an NLDS, he's not going to pitch until game 3 or 4 of the CS, which means he would pitch on the road if they are the 1 seed and pitch at home if they're the 2 seed, but it could be flipped. I don't know. A little hard to predict, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go along with it. It's a goofy thing that makes him, he's still not human.
It should be something that we have a little worry about, though, because if he's having troubles, he's not going to be able to throw 103.
Right. And we've learned there's a big difference between 100 and 103. So I thought that was interesting that the mound issue continues to be
just keep an eye on it.
Right.
Just keep an eye on it.
It's not, again, all it does is take him from super duper human to superhuman. It's not.
Yep.
It's not like it's his kryptonite by any means. He still pitched well last night. Just something to keep an eye on, as you said, Mr. Morse. All right, 7:00 hour coming up next. Keep it right here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call.
Good morning. This is your wake-up call.
It's time to wake up, Wisconsin.
Wake me up!
All right, rise and shine, Sleeping Beauty. Come on, hop, hop, hop.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
Here's your host, Josh Albrecht.
And it's base hit through the right side. Chourio sent around third. Benj has it. His throw's going to go to third all the way through. Safe as loud. 1-0 Brewers on the hit by Vaughn. That is hit off the end of the bat towards the second baseman. They will get one. And safe is Sanchez scoring his Lar to make it 2-0.
If you're David Hamilton.
Chourio goes to right. It's back. And it is gone for Jackson Chourio. The base hit bunt turns into 2 runs. For Chourio, number 18. That's a fair ball. They're going to go across the diamond and get Contreras. An RBI ground out as Chourio scores. Pratt into left. That'll get it done. Robert back on the warning track to make the catch. Ortiz tags and scores, and Cooper Pratt delivers. Chourio to left. It is up. It is gone for Jackson Chourio. A 4-hit day, and he caps it with a second home run of the night.
Thank you, Jackson Chourio. Thank you for bringing some power. Love that. Loved an 8-2 victory by the Milwaukee Brewers. Another series victory, this time over the New York Mets. Good morning, Wisconsin. Welcome into hour 2 of the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. You guys have been lively this morning on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. We appreciate you. I'm Josh Albrecht. Aaron Morris alongside, of course. Plenty of things to talk about. Coming up, middle of this hour, we're going to have Matt Schneidman of The Athletic joining the show, talking to us about all things Packers and Josh Jacobs. We want to focus on the Brewers a little bit here as well. At the end of last hour, I did bring up the whole mound thing, which is continuing to be a topic. I'm not even going to say a huge problem. It's just kind of like a topic that is brought up in otherwise just a perfect scenario every time you see that a probable pitcher named Jacob Mizrowski is starting for the Milwaukee Brewers. Talking about the mound a little bit, going to that text line, 920 says, Miz's lead landing foot kept sliding forward on him. Also, it was raining yesterday at Citi Field. The 262 said, it's kind of like bowling, Josh, to put this in terms you'd understand. Thank you. Once you stick on the approach, you become timid the next time you go to throw the ball. So, yeah, I kind of get that. And the 414 kind of goes along in the same way there. He says Jacob's stride is much longer than other pitchers because he's 10 feet tall. And if it's not right, he won't be able to trust the mound and his plant foot and throw 105 miles per hour. So, yeah, I mean, that becomes the thing, right? It's the confidence. And when you watch these guys throw, not just Miz, but anyone pitch, I mean, it's their whole body. They're throwing their whole body into this to launch it as fast as they do. And Miz is tall, and he has that insanely long stretch, before he plants his plant foot. And so it does become an issue. Miz was asked about it after the game, and we have a little bit of audio of what he said.
Issue or difficulty with the mound?
Yeah, it was just a little wet, once we battled through that, the grounds crew was really working hard to try and get it figured out, and, we get it fixed for a batter or two, and then I would dig out just from landing, it would crumble away and, back to where the mud was. So, I think it was a part of the day, and, was what it was, and got to figure out a way to power through it.
Was it getting on both feet or just the land?
Mostly just the land. There were maybe a few, maybe 1-2 times that I slipped on the backside, but, mostly the front side.
How was it affecting your pitches?
Yeah, I think that's a big factor of, not being able to control the front side. There's no wall to hit. And so, you kind of are throwing with all arm.
And you've had this in other places, and it's more on the road. Is there anything like that can be done the day before? Are you allowed to ask the grounds crew to be like, hey, could you really tamp that thing down?
honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. Maybe it's something we need to look towards, but yeah, I don't have an answer for you.
How does it feel that you got through it? I mean, it's quality start. It's
it
you
feels
did the
good.
job.
Feels good. It always feels good to get the team a win, but no, and it's part of it. That's the job. So I got to figure it out.
All right, there you go. A little bit of Jacob Mizorowski talking about that. Yeah, I mean, he talks about just the difference, and yeah, of course, with his velocity and control and everything else. I mean, he would never say it, but our biggest concern has to be just injury. Like, right? You can't have him slipping and everything else on a pitch, and then things get even worse.
I think that's part of what he was saying, like the front side not being able to hit that wall, and then because of that, you're going all arm. I think that's the slight injury risk that might be in the back of your mind. Like, you can't force yourself to stop, because that's when bad things happen with the leg, knee, whatever would end up getting injured there. So you have to throw just upper body, because you are feeling like injury could happen here.
Yeah, I thought it was a great question. I think it was McCalvey who asked it about, like, have you talked to the league? Like, is there something that can be done here? I mean, Adam McCalvy's so good, but when he asked that question, I was like, yeah. And then Miz's response of good question. I mean, we haven't. I was like, why not? Why? That should have been the first time it happened.
Yeah,
that should have been a question.
I think because the league stays out. I think teams let their groundskeepers do the field how they do the field. I think the league doesn't step in on that. I don't know. I mean, maybe they could if it's a player safety issue.
Right. And my whole thing is like, then you still ask the question. You still check with the league to see, is that something that we are allowed to request from teams when we're on the road, or to at least get an answer. Maybe Manfred and the league come back and say, nope, that's part of playing away games, but at least you get an answer. That was the one thing to question. Otherwise, it was all great. Chourio did well. The Brewers take care of business, and now we're one series away from this big 4-game series with the Cubs. They got the Rangers coming to town. They will do a quick weekend series with the Texas Rangers. First game tonight, and I kind of feel like this is a series where no one's even focusing on. Like, everyone's just like, yeah, okay, the Rangers are in town. Let's get to the Cubs.
Yeah,
Let's get to the Cubs.
the Brewers handle American League teams very well. The Rangers are in playoff contention, but the only reason why is because they're in the American League. If they were in the National League, they would be really nowhere close to the wild card conversation.
They're below 500.
Yeah, 66 and 68. That would put them below the St. Louis Cardinals. They'd be 6 games back of a spot. They are 2 games back of a playoff spot in the wild card, and they are 1 game back in their division. I mean, just a ridiculous American League this year.
Right. I was going to say, the American League in general is pretty rough.
And you don't have to face DeGrom, I don't believe, in this series. So good news for the Brewers.
Sure. There's that too. All right. Back to Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers. Keep in mind,
I don't wanna.
I know. Well, too bad. Yeah. It's the biggest story of the day. Mm-hmm. It's also why we're going to have Matt Schneidman joining us on the other side here, and he will also help answer any of our questions in regards to this. But going back to the Nicolay Law fan talking text line, and you guys chiming in here, I'm trying to go back and find this. Here we go. This was the 715 said, when this first came out, it was reported Josh Jacobs had evidence he was innocent. I don't condone abuse, but we don't know the extent. Based on the discussion, I believe Jacobs supplied the video in his defense, and the Packers have seen the video or they wouldn't be standing so strong. Few things here. First of all, the video evidence was put in front of the district attorney. The district attorney saw all of the evidence before putting the charges forward. If the DA thought, well, they'd have a good case that this is self-defense because, there was something going on first, and that's why Jacobs would have brought it and said, no, see, look, I was in self-defense. If they thought there was a legitimate argument there, I don't know that the charges get brought, right? This is different than a civil suit. This is a criminal case. So I don't know how much I'm buying into that. And then also the second part in regards to the Packers staying so strong, Aaron, we were talking about it during the break.
What are they supposed to do? They're not. They have not stood strong. Standing strong would be we're defending Josh Jacobs. We have his back and all assets of this. That would be standing strong. Or like they can't do that. Obviously, they're just standing there. They're not doing anything. Which they can't do anything. The Packers,
right? They're following all the rules here. When they said business as usual, they had to say that because there was no charges brought against him.
Right.
The DA said, we are not pursuing charges at this time. There was no civil suit brought against Josh Jacobs. There was nothing. If there's nothing, the Packers can't do anything.
I don't know. Maybe this is a terrible analogy, but I'm just trying to think of how you can compare this. It's like seeing rain in the forecast 3 hours from now. But it's bright and sunny and 85, and you're carrying an umbrella to protect yourself from the rain.
No, you're right. That's a terrible analogy because people do that all the time. If you know the rain is in the forecast.
No, I'm saying like carrying an umbrella open.
Like, having it
open. Yeah,
open.
like using it to protect yourself from the rain when there's no rain that's happening.
Sure. Maybe. It's still a little weak of a comparison. I know what you're trying to do, but I don't. Yeah. All right. Going through this here, different 715. Actually, let me read this one first. The 608 says, what he gets convicted of or pleads guilty to will be less than what he's currently charged with. Also, is the victim reluctant to testify? Again, that's why I said there's 3 different courts that are judging him here. There's the actual judicial system, there is the NFL, and there are the Green Bay Packers. All 3 get to make a decision on what happens next with the life and career of Josh Jacobs. All of this that the 608 is saying of the charges being less, all of that doesn't mean the NFL can still do whatever they want. They don't need to go, well, if the court would have kept it this, then we would have. But because, he took a plea deal and all this other thing, that's not the way that has to go.
Hey, what are you I'm curious about T and Lacrosse's comment because it makes sense to me if that ends up being the case.
All right, let's get to T's now. I know he's up a ways. All right, here it is. In reference to the Jacobs case, my phone is my wallet, and I will protect my property. She admitted she was trespassing on his phone. Yes.
Because, I'm curious because in this case, again, this is not a domestic violence charge. So if this is just we kind of have to go into like just a random person almost. Like if they like took your phone and started scrolling through it and looking around, again, not excusing what Jacobs did, but there is a case to be made that he is what T says in protecting his property.
Sure.
It's a bit extreme.
Yes.
For what
I
Jacobs
would definitely
case.
say so.
But that's probably the case that Jacobs and his attorneys are going to make, no?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that's the case
because
that they're going to make.
Again, you can't bring into this that they are whatever their relationship is, girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance,
girlfriend. I think
that can't be that can't be used as a sticking point, I guess.
The 262 said, was this girl attacking Jacobs physically? Was he trying to get her off of him? Again, kind of the same thing. I feel like if this was a self-defense case and that Jacobs had one, I don't think the DA brings charges to light.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like she was attacking him. It just sounds like she was snooping.
Right. And then took his phone and he didn't like that.
Right.
And he says, I'm with you, Josh, on the Jacobs situation. The 715 says, Josh is so worried about public perception. How about we let due process play its way out? If Josh ever gets charged with anything, Josh being me, he should be fired immediately. Those are his standards. No, it's not. And Aaron and I, again, off air, so none of you heard it, but we talked about this as well. There have been plenty of cases in Green Bay of players being pulled over for speeding or having, marijuana in the car or whatever. And yeah, okay, well, that was dumb, but here you are, and they're
Big
back.
whoop, basically.
And right. This was a situation that Josh Jacobs was, based on the report, he put his hands on her and pushed her to the ground. Could it be that she had his phone? Could it be that there was something else going on? Sure. Things escalated. He drove away, came back, and then this happened. And he still pushed a woman to the ground. I'm never going to be okay with doing that. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, right? This is not an exception.
The 920, I need to get to this because if he wasn't good, he would be cut. But they need a good running back, so they're keeping him. They don't care that he beat his woman. That is about as far from what is going on with the situation as you can get. The charges just came across yesterday. The Packers can't do anything until that point, and they honestly can't do anything probably for, I mean, at least if they wanted to cut him today, they could, but they're probably not going to. They probably would like a few days at least to figure something out. And so it doesn't, you can't say they don't care that he beat his woman. You can't say that they only need a good running back, so that's why they're keeping him. That's just not the case.
Correct.
That's not what's going on here.
Like the charges literally came back yesterday.
That's a very high escalation towards the Packers organization and thought process.
Also, I would love to say that this is going to take even more time because this is the first time it's ever happened in the NFL. It's not. There are procedures in place for something like this when it does happen on both the NFL side and the Green Bay Packers side, because these things unfortunately happen way more than they should in professional sports. And so they are now just going through that procedure and gathering their information, doing their investigation through their process of how they handle these things. And we're just sitting here and having to wait to see what the final call is in that regard. The 262 said DAs don't take cases they're not positive they can win. So if they're bringing charges, they think they'll win. That's exactly right. That's why when the charges were first brought against Josh Jacobs, the DA's office said, yeah, we're not holding him, because they knew right now as it sits, we don't have evidence to go forward with these charges. We need to do our due diligence. We need to go and put a case together. We're not saying that he's free and clear. We're saying we're not charging him at this time. We have to build a case. If we can win that case, then we'll go get him. This is the case they said they could win, and they went and got him. Keep in mind, this should be even more proof that they have what they need, because it's not the original charges. This was brought down, meaning they already went, yeah, we don't have the evidence we're going to need to win for these other charges that were originally brought against
which
him.
Includes the domestic violence escalator in Wisconsin.
Correct.
Which should also be there should be a flag saying, okay, this is what they're going after, which means that they believe that this is pretty cut and dry, which means that domestic violence to them is not cut and dry in this situation, which is interesting. Whether they think it is or not, they don't think it's a very good case, at least.
Many of you, I mean, the Nicolay Law, I'm trying to keep up with all the texts. Appreciate you guys all chiming in this morning. Many of you saying, move on and cut him. We don't need this type of player on the Packers. The 608 says, as it is now, for the criminal charges, it doesn't matter that the victim is a woman. To the Packers, that fact does matter. I want to focus on that text, because whether you agree or not with the 608, that's exactly what I'm looking for from the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. The Packers, that part, that slice of the pie of who all gets to judge Josh Jacobs in this case based on these charges, the Packers get to make their own decision. The Packers could say, we don't like the way you sneeze, and say, like, that's it. We don't need you on this team anymore. Go find a different team. The Packers can make their own perception and their own decision, even if the NFL comes back and says, we're good. Josh Jacobs can play. the Packers can say, yeah, well, then he can go play for someone else, because that's not how we represent ourselves. So that's the number one thing that I want to know, because the judicial system is going to do what they're going to do. Laws are going to be taken into account. Lawyers are going to lawyer, and they're going to make decisions. But we are focusing on how this is going to impact the Green Bay Packers. How do the Green Bay Packers go forward here? Do they wait for those other two slices to make their decision, or do they go ahead and make a decision on their own and say it's time to move on from Josh Jacobs? We're going to find out. We're going to find out one way or another.
We probably have too many questions for Matt Schneidman, don't we?
Oh, we definitely have a lot for him. Very, very grateful that Matt Schneidman is going to join us and talk Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers and where they go from here. On the other side, when we come back to the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call, this is That Show, and I am Josh Albrecht. That's Aaron Morse, and we're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is proudly outfitted by Berghardt Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Josh Albrecht, Aaron Morse alongside, of course, and we are very, very happy to welcome on our friend from The Athletic, Matt Schneidman, talking all things Packers, and today, all things Josh Jacobs. Matt, thank you for joining us. How are you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Okay, yeah.
We're good. We're trying to get more answers and things figured out with the Josh Jacobs case. Kind of let me set up where I'm at with this. So obviously, first of all, you put out tweets yesterday, and you've been covering this, I feel like, more than a lot of the other beat writers, staying up to date on, poking the DA's office, saying, hey, you got any update for me? You got any update for me? So I appreciate you doing that as well. But you put out the whole report from the DA's office that came out with the charges brought against Josh Jacobs. The way that I've been looking at this, Matt, is you have technically four different courts that are judging him. You have the judicial system, you have the NFL, you have the Green Bay Packers, and then you have the public. Of all four of those, the biggest one that I'm focusing on is the Green Bay Packers. Do you think that the Green Bay Packers wait for the NFL or the judicial system to come to a final say before they make a decision?
It seems like that will happen because they didn't make a decision yet. And their statement yesterday pretty much said, we're cooperating with the NFL and we'll have no further comment at this time. So the Packers aren't doing anything just yet. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going about their process in terms of, do they have all the information they need? Have they seen this video? Are they going to wait for if he's suspended or not? Or are they going to wait to see if he's proven guilty in a court of law? Because as the DA, the Brown County DA, said in a statement yesterday, right now, these are just allegations. And he said Josh deserves his day in court, and he is innocent until proven guilty. So as damning as some of those incident report details are, Josh isn't guilty of anything yet in a court of law, no matter what anyone in the public may think. So I don't know exactly how the Packers are going to go about their decision. If they didn't release him yet, I'm not sure it's going to happen down the line, but you never know with these things and kind of how Brian Gutekunst and Ed Policy and Matt LaFleur are approaching it.
So the NFL does their own investigation into this. They do not have to wait to make a decision, although it says, and this has been kind of a point we've been trying to figure out throughout the morning, the CBA with the NFLPA says that if there is any domestic abuse charge, it's a minimum of 6 games, regardless of the severity of the case. However, there was no domestic abuse charge actually brought forward. So, and then you look at the fact that the actual court date for Josh Jacobs isn't until week 11 of the season. So really, it would seem like if the NFL, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the NFL, if the NFL or the Green Bay Packers are waiting for the judicial system to make a decision, does this continue to be business as usual for the Packers until November or December almost?
Yeah, it very well could be. That court date, I believe, is in mid-November, but this is why I'm not a legal expert, because
sure.
I see in the incident report that the allegation is that he threw her to the ground in the garage, and they have video that corroborates that. And then Jacob's attorneys come out with a statement saying the Brown County District Attorney has reviewed evidence and elected to file misdemeanor charges against Josh that do not include domestic violence. I'm like, wait, what? So it appears to be, I guess, legally, this is the thing, and what I'm learning. this isn't like football where you can be like, well, yeah, that's a touchdown, or he had 2 feet in back. Like, this is a technicality. Regardless of what it says in the incident report, it's not a charge of domestic violence. It's a charge of misdemeanor battery. I'm not an expert on Wisconsin law, but it appears that just because it's a girlfriend and it happens in your home, it's not a domestic violence charge if it's a misdemeanor battery. So I don't know if how impactful that technicality is going to be in this, but yeah, this could very much play out. Although I would find it hard to believe. I don't know exactly how far along the league is on their timeline of discipline. I would find it hard to believe that the league announces their decision on discipline for Josh, if there is discipline for Josh, in November. The Packers probably want some clarity on that before the season starts. And, I would be surprised, although, again, I don't know exactly how they're going about their decision, if in mid-November it's like, oh, Josh is suspended for the rest of the season. I don't think that's going to happen.
Matt, how difficult is that domestic violence escalator, or lack thereof in this case, for all the parties involved? For instance, the public perception, everyone is going to treat this as domestic violence, even though the charge isn't brought up as a DV charge. So the Packers then, they have to take this whole situation, and they can't deem this as domestic violence as it's not there, but public perception would tell them, hey, eventually you got to cut this guy for that. And for the NFL, how much can they skirt the rules and say, well, we view it as domestic violence, so it's a 6-game or more? How important is that lack of an escalator in terms of how everyone is going to go about this in your estimation?
Yeah, this is just my estimation, but I think the Packers and the NFL, in investigating and making a decision on this, I don't know that that's going to matter. What matters is what is proven that he did, or what is on video that he did. So I don't think, and I could be wrong, but this is just my assumption. I'm not sure the Packers or the NFL would say, oh, it's not technically domestic abuse, so we're not going to suspend him, or we're not going to kick him off the team. If it was domestic abuse, then we would kick him off the team. I'm not sure that distinction would matter. And I want to make something clear. I know the Packers are the people's team and they're owned by the people. People saying that, the Packers are going to cut him, or the Packers have to release him because they're owned by the fans, and this is what the fans want. I'm not sure the Packers, with all due respect, care what the fans think about this, even if they're owned by the fans. They're going to make their own decision based on what they think is right and best for them.
We're talking to Matt Schneidman of The Athletic here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. All right, so Matt, it was ironic timing, because Goody was actually asked a day or two before the news came out in his presser about if they had a plan, and Goody was very smart in using the word if instead of when in his answers, the multiple times that he said if this was to come to light, if there is a situation, we'll handle it at that time. Where do you see the Packers, when this is all being figured out, where do you see their next move being? Do they go with who they have? Do they bring someone else up? Do they go and sign a veteran running back that's out there? Do they trade for someone? Where do you see the Packers' next move being, knowing that this was a question too that we were asking back when this first got announced months ago?
Yeah, I'm not sure that there is a move out there that's like, oh, it's a clear upgrade over Marshawn Lloyd, or like the reason these running backs are still available is because they're not very good. So do you want to bring someone in who hasn't spent any time in your camp this summer, who hasn't gelled with the offense? And again, we just talked about, Josh might not get suspended. no matter what we think will likely happen. B, this decision might carry into the season. We just don't know, regardless of what we think or expect to happen. Goody did say that he's confident in the guys they have behind Josh. I don't know if I buy that, because we're still in knock on wood mode for Marshawn Lloyd. He's practiced every single day of camp, played in both games, but he's still a guy that has played in one game over the last 2 seasons. Chris Brooks is a nice situational kind of pass blocking running back. And then Pierre Strong's shown some nice moments as kind of a number 4 back. But Goody did say, we'll do something when the time comes, when a decision is made. I also don't buy that. He's definitely doing homework on other guys. And well, actually, I do buy that, because I think what he means by that is we won't make a move until it's necessary. So they're preparing for Josh to be suspended, which that comment was obviously taken out of context because they didn't talk about the rest of what he said. So he's doing his homework on other guys and has contingency plans in place, but they're not going to bring someone else in, I don't think, until the NFL makes their decision. Now, is the NFL going to tip the Packers off and say, he's going to get suspended, but we're still kind of determining how long? That decision is not going to come for another couple of weeks, another couple of days, whatever it is. I don't know how these things exactly work behind closed doors between the league and the team. But if Josh gets suspended, I would not be surprised if there's another running back in here, although I don't know how much of an upgrade it would be over what they have. And heck, if Pierre Strong has another nice game tonight, maybe just have him be the new number 3.
There you go. The DA also did steal the thunder a little bit of Jonnu Smith, who made his deal with the Packers. He's going to come to Green Bay on a 1-year deal. What does this do for the tight end room and the overall plan for tight end for the Green Bay Packers?
I think it just adds some proven depth, a guy with experience, because right now you look at that room and Tucker Kraft is probably a top 3 tight end in the league, and he appears to be fully healthy, but it's what's behind him. I don't think this move is insurance in case Tucker Kraft gets hurt again. I think it's because Luke Musgrave still hasn't practiced in camp with that neck injury he suffered in the offseason, and I'm not sure when he's going to come back. We haven't asked about him in a while. And last time we checked, they said they were still trying to figure out how long-term that injury was. Josh Wiley, they rave about him, and he's, I guess, a nice number 2. But behind that, you have Drake Dabney, Messiah Swinson. You need probably at least 3 guys you're comfortable of putting into a game to play meaningful snaps. And right now, the Packers have like 1.5, 2 of those guys. So Jonnu Smith played for Matt LaFleur in 2018. He caught, I think, 3 touchdowns, had 20 catches as a second-year tight end for the Titans when LaFleur was the play calling OC there. So there's some familiarity. He obviously spent, I believe, last year with the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. I don't think this is like some crazy featured piece signing. I think it just gives the Packers a little bit more insurance at one of their thinnest positions.
Matt, if I could go back to Josh Jacobs quickly here. One last question, just based on what you said earlier with, hey, the Packers don't really care about what the fans think. And that might be shocking to hear from a fan's perspective, which probably shouldn't be, but the Packers are different than other teams where they don't have the owner, right? So how does that structure work for the Packers in this situation, and who will be making the decision? Is that Ed Policy? Is it the executive committee as a whole, the board of directors? Who is in the chain of command here and could make an overarching decision on this?
On whether to keep Josh or cut him. Yeah. It's an Ed, Brian, and Matt decision, I would imagine. I would imagine it's collaborative. I know that's the cliche answer, but I don't think it goes, higher than Ed. I think it'll involve.
So like the executive committee couldn't say, hey, we're voting 6-1.
No.
That Josh Jacobs and then Ed Policy has to go to Brian Gutekunst and say that. Yeah.
No, I think Ed Policy made it very clear to us when we sat down with him before he officially took this job last year that he would not meddle in football decisions and he would leave that to Gutekunst, LaFleur, and Russ Ball. I think this is a little bit different. This is beyond just a football decision. This is an organizational perception, an organizational kind of philosophy decision. So I think policy will definitely be involved in this one. And who knows, maybe they've already made their decision. And if they were going to make a decision, it would have been yesterday. Maybe they don't need to. Maybe they know everything they need to know. Maybe they've already seen that video. So we will probably get some updates. I shouldn't say updates, but Matt LaFleur is going to talk tonight after the game. Brian Gutekunst is going to talk Monday or Tuesday for his last press conference until the combine after roster cutdown day. So we'll see where they are at. I don't expect them to be like, oh yeah, we're not cutting him. I expect them to just say, we're going to stick with the statement that the team put out, or we're not going to have any further comment until the legal process plays out. But I'll be interested to see how teammates handle it too, because they're going to get asked about it. And couple guys like Jaden Reed and Xavier McKinney that I remember strongly supported Josh back when this first happened. So again, we don't know exactly what's on that video. I was doing a little more digging last night, and this is the last thing I'll say. So I know I put out there a bunch that the police have Josh pushing her to the ground on video. The incident report doesn't explicitly say we have video of Josh pushing her to the ground. It says we have video that corroborates her series of events with the garage altercation. And then it also describes said garage altercation as Josh pushing her to the ground. Now, regardless, it's not good for him that they have video that I looked up the definition of corroborates. Basically means supports. Now, does it mean proves? Like, does the video have distinct evidence of him pushing her to the ground? Is it her falling to the ground out of frame? So that's the reason I deleted the videos I made, not because I, think he's innocent or think the videos don't show anything. I'm not stating my opinion on the matter. I just think the police probably could have been clearer in their statement, and that word corroborates. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of gray area there. I still don't think it's a good look regardless if the police have videos supporting her claim that he pushed her to the ground. But I'm just thinking about this from a legal, technical perspective rather than a common sense perspective. And it's not good either way, whatever they have on video, but it's the small technicality there. But we'll see how this kind of plays out legally. Because as I said, thinking about it from a legal perspective is different than thinking about it from like a common sense A plus B equals C perspective.
Yeah, well said. All right. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate your time this morning. Matt Schneidman from The Athletic. And of course, always check out the new podcast, The Green Bay Beat, as well, wherever you get your podcasts. Matt, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, fellas. Talk soon.
All right. Matt Schneidman of The Athletic joining us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we will wrap up the show today. This is the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back, everyone, to the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Josh Albrecht, Aaron Morse. Big shout out to our friend Matt Schneidman from The Athletic and the Green Bay Beat podcast for joining us, talking all things Packers and Josh Jacobs. A lot of good stuff. If you missed it, go to wisportsradio.com or to any of our stream social media channels. You'll be able to find it there. Answered a lot of questions. Also appreciate everyone who chimed in today. From the word go, we had so many people being a part of the show, calls, texts about this case and what happens next with Josh Jacobs, what happens next with the Green Bay Packers, also what happens next with the Milwaukee Brewers, which them getting that win and that series victory was, even though it wasn't like necessarily maybe a huge win, needed win for in baseball terms, it felt like in terms of what we needed in the state of Wisconsin as Wisconsin sports fans, we needed that win after the Josh Jacobs news coming out, and just having a positive that also followed and helped us out on a Thursday evening. Again, thank you to everyone who chimed in today, calls, texts, everyone that kept it respectful, had a very good discussion. I really felt like, Aaron, we handled that well. We got the Steve Zabin Show with Josh Albrecht, myself, coming up next. We're going to get Zabe's opinion on all of this, plus anything else that Zabe might have seen. And it's a Friday, so of course we'll have Let's Goes and Oh No's for the weekend. Very, very much looking forward to that. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aaron, for another good week here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Appreciate you, bud. Have a good weekend for sure. And we will make sure to do this all again next week. I'm Josh Albrecht. That is Aaron Morse. This is the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. And we've been live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll do it all again on Monday because we're not done yet.